10, 219, 219.
Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast with Dan Bernstein and Matt Abaticola on 312 Sports.
Forward Progress is brought to you by Church Brewing, New Buffalo's brewery-pizzeria in a historic church. Wood-fired Neapolitan pizza, small batch craft beer, brunch every day. Visit beerchurchbrewing.com and raise one to your Chicago Bears, who are now 3-2 on the season after an improbable 25-24 comeback victory. This was a wild one. This was a weird one. But if, in fact, the Bears are earning their reputation as a resilient team under this coach, it can be ugly. But as long as you're on the right side of these scores in this league, to go on the road and win this one the way that they did, they deserve to be proud of themselves. I can't hear you, Matt. I don't know if your microphone is on or not. So,
well, there we go. How's that?
Okay,
is that better?
Let me just say this, too. For everything we've said about DeAndre Swift, and he's taken a lot of arrows, and deservedly so, when Ben Johnson said they were going to fix some things in the run game, I said I wanted to see more outside zone. And what were they going too late for DeAndre Swift when they needed it? And look who they were running behind in a lot of that stuff. That was Darnell Wright, go get your guy. You knew they were running over him for Swift. Swift, 14 attempts, 108 yards rushing with a long of 19. He also caught 2 passes for a total of 67 yards, that long touchdown of 55. If we want to list the heroes of this game for the Bears, DeAndre Swift, and certainly, despite the one that was blocked, Jake Moody.
Yeah, 175 yards from the line of scrimmage for DeAndre Swift. Had quite the game, MVP of the game. Darnell Wright, yeah, on those outside zone runs, leading the way, multiple blocks on several runs, taking out the first guy, and then getting even to a deeper level. Dahlman pulling out and leading. There's some things to look at, some issues again in this game, but
There's
yet
so much.
They are resilient to come back. And even when the refs, listen, I'm glad we won this game so I can criticize the refereeing, because the refereeing sucked. Absolutely sucked in that game.
I have more question marks written on my crazy person's notes here, my bizarro notes. And question mark either means like, why was that called? What's going on? What explains that? And I don't know. I think it was both ways too. I think the Bears caught a break when Swift grabbed the jersey of the would-be tackler after he let go of his block early on the Caleb Williams touchdown. I know that it was probably not a correct call had they called it, but usually when you can see the jersey be pulled that obviously, it's often called, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I was surprised that wasn't called. It didn't have an impact on the play or the block because he was able to fight through it, but still, you see that material stretch, that's usually called. Then the call on Colston Loveland, which the pass interference I thought was complete bullshit. The call on Theo Benedict being off the line of scrimmage was like, have these guys never watched a Chiefs game? I mean, that was unbelievable.
I thought even the Nashawn Wright face mask was a strange one. I had question marks on the Montez Sweat roughing the passer, where he reached over and smacked him. I know you got to call that, but I'm trying to figure out, if you can't hit him high and you can't hit him low, they make it awfully difficult to hit the midsection of a guy who's as slippery as Jaden Daniels. But you know what, Maddie, I don't want to concentrate on the officials. I think the Bears deserve better than that. This is a Ben Johnson win. This was a win that needed belief. This was a win that needed the belief that on a wet and rainy night, that ball could slip out at any point. And I thought this thing was over after McNichols picked up the first down on 3rd and 13. And they played the correct defense. They did not come up and make the play, and I thought it was over. And I'll be damned if it wasn't a guy who would have been one of the goats of the night, Nashawn Wright, that man again, falling on the ball to recover the fumble, and they let him down the field. And Moody, boy, he's got a weird trajectory on some of those kicks, but that one made it.
Yeah, no, and it was lucky that one that was blocked, but I mean, he comes in his first game, and he makes 4 field goals in his very first game. This is snobworthy. This is absolutely bullshit. So shut your mouth. Stop tweeting stupid stuff and say, no, it's stupid. I didn't want him fired after 2 weeks. No, this guy's an idiot. He's an idiot. I'm tired of it. It's just it's
don't
stupid.
Put his tweet up.
Well, because now I want to address him because he's a moron.
Okay.
Like, again, you're too small thinking in your small little brain to have any critical thoughts about a guy after 2 weeks, after one game. So shut the hell up. Go watch the games and live in your fantasy land and be a stupid idiot. Okay. Listen, you know what? And I get what you're saying. Yeah, the Bears deserve better. This was a game that they almost let slip away. They almost let it slip away, but the officiating played a part in that, Dan, and it is important to recognize that because they were able to not only overcome a road game, shitty weather, but bad officiating as well. It's a hugely impressive win for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams.
Let's be also fair. They overcame a lot of their own mistakes. The Bears, and we always used to say this, it's not necessarily showing resiliency when you come back from things that are self-imposed. And it was always a mark of the old Bears saying that, well, we got off to an awful start, but then we won a couple of games, and we're going to keep our coach and keep everybody here because we recovered from that bad stretch. I do think that it's great that they are able to overcome so many things. When they're good, when they actually are good, and we can debate how good they are now, but when they are actually undoubtedly good, they're not going to have to be resilient in the face of their own stupidity, in the face of some of these penalties, and Caleb Williams missing layups, Olamide Zacchaeus dropping what could have been a 50-yard or more pickup. It was so debilitating, and it was just demoralizing. So many of the mistakes that they were making, but I'll be damned. Sometimes a team wants it less than you want it. It's not exactly a rallying cry, but they gave this one away.
But let me ask you, though, that hit on Caleb Williams where he was in bounds, it's a legal hit on Luvu. And he's still in bounds. He hits him. That's fine. That's a legal play. Mm-hmm. But to stand over the quarterback on the ground and flex on him, how is that not something that's called when that barely of a slap in the helmet on Montez Sweat is called when he's reaching and barely hits him with his hand?
And even probably the most ticky-tack call of the night was the illegal formation call on Theo Benedette when he wasn't quite lined up properly with his head right along the butt of the center, and it took away an absolutely gorgeous star catch by Roma Dunze.
Yeah, it took away his touchdown, too.
A physical adjustment in the end zone to make a spectacular play. That was too bad. Let's talk about Theo Benedette, though. If this is your offensive line, if you found something here, particularly in the run game, if you think you found something here, and they weren't running at Benedict, they were running much more right than left. But if you trust that he's going to execute enough on that side and grow into that role, I don't think he's a long-term answer, but for whatever you think you might be trying to do in the short term, he looked a hell of a lot better than Darnell Wright.
No, he looked great.
Than Braxton Jones.
Braxton Jones. No, he looked great. I thought he had a really good game. I thought Montez Sweat had a really good game. I thought he was impactful, and he made several plays. Got his name called a lot. He was in the backfield a lot. He pressured Jaden Daniels quite a bit. But, there's still – when you were saying about how when the team gets better and when they get better and as this season progresses, they are not going to get in those opportunities where they stack mistakes on top of mistakes. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this team to not have to – really what happens is they get in their own way. And really good teams don't get in their own way like the Bears have done, but yet they were still able to overcome it. A huge, incredible win tonight for them on the road, overcoming mistakes, overcoming some bad refereeing, having the lead, seeing it slip away, but still being resilient enough to come back and win this game. I just thought it was a great game. Really happy for Swift. Had an unbelievable game. Even Monungai gets some nice carries, has a nice reception. DJ Moore, Ben Johnson really creative with Moore getting some carries through the backfield in motion to get the ball. Had some nice catches. Unfortunately, that Roma Dunze touchdown, a touchdown a game, was taken away, but he's still on pace for his 17 that you demanded from him. So we're very excited for that. But it was just a really good game. Nashawn Wright had an absolutely awful game. Lucky for him, he was able to get that fumble recovery. He jumped on that McCaffrey touchdown that led to a wide-open touchdown. had a face mask penalty, and then had a pass interference call too. Had a really rough game. Luckily, that ball bounced his way for that fumble recovery.
And boy, Jake Moody, who has had an up and down career after being a huge kicking prospect, wasn't he? I believe he was a 3rd round pick and was believed to be one of these potentially generational kickers, and then just nerves got to him. He was maddeningly inconsistent, and was again today, because that block was his fault. That was a bad kick. He kicked it right into like at face mask level almost, and for him to rebound from that and he had a total, 4 total on the night? I mean, I certainly wish he weren't as busy, because I'd much rather have touchdowns on those drives when we were looking at 13-0 and feeling, it's got to be more, it's got to be more, it's got to be more.
Yeah.
And all of us who were saying that, we were right. It obviously did. And they're not going to have these problems if they convert these drives earlier and they don't stall out. But it almost defies a lot of rational explanation because of how strange this was. But, Maddie, I keep thinking that every NFL game is like this now. They're almost all weird.
Well, that's what happens when you have a blob game. And if you remember, or if we haven't mentioned the other Monday Night Football game where the Falcons took it to the Bills and got that win. So if you were playing along too with our MyBookie picks, Dan, I gave you that winning parlay tonight of taking the points and the Falcons, taking the Bears and the points, and they both hit and they both won. One in the fourth quarter though, before the fumble recovery, Bears had the ball deep in their own end zones. They were in their own territory. They were inside the 10-yard line, and they get a first down pass play that was called back because of a DJ penalty. So it's 1st and 15.
That's when he was lined up off sides.
He was lined up off sides, and then you get a 1st and 15 that turns into a 2nd and 16 because I think it was Monungai who got tackled for a 1-yard loss right at the goal line.
That's when you had the Zacchaeus drop.
And that was on the 3rd down.
Mm-hmm.
What happened on that Monungai run? Cole Kmet, I don't know if you noticed or saw it. Maybe go back and watch it. Totally whiffed on his block, completely and totally, utterly whiffed. Head down, diving at a potential guy to block, and just completely missed him because wasn't even looking. Hands weren't even up in the air to go and engage the block. So right there, I'm like, all right, shit. This is where the Bears beat themselves, where they can't get out of their own way, but yet they were able to overcome that and still managed to get a punt off, which then in turn turned into the fumble recovery by Wright. So those are the things that, as they go through and tighten things up, we saw what Ben Johnson was able to do with the run game, having that extra time off during the bye week to scout, to evaluate what can they do well, what do we need to do differently, what do guys need to do better, and this is what they came out with in the run game, and it was an absolutely beautiful thing to see tonight.
I keep expecting tight ends to contribute more. And while the aforementioned Kmet had played a ton of snaps and even had an isolation block for Monungai in as a fullback, they went straight old-fashioned I formation in the first quarter when they had it at their own 34 to start that drive. Kmet was the fullback. They ran an ISO block for Monungai. I thought that was kind of cool. And they do have Kmet doing a lot, but he ended up with 1 catch for 0 yards. And there was a big catch for the first down late by Colston Loveland. But maybe this just isn't something that Johnson is going to force, as much as we know that he likes to play 12 personnel and he likes to use the tight end a lot. Maybe it's just not right time, not right people for what he's trying to do. Good to see Luther Burden targeted 4 times, caught the ball every single time, had 51 yards, that big long of 37. More of that, please. And if it comes at the expense of DJ Moore, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, and I think there was that catch late by Colston Loveland where he caught the first down. He got it like a 6-yard pass, caught a first down, and immediately fell down. He was not going to lose the ball. He got the first down line, and he's like, "That's it, I'm good. I made it. I'm going to cradle this ball like a little baby and just lay here and wait for someone to touch me." So that was great. I laughed out loud seeing that play. A couple long, deep passes to Roma Dunze. One, he had his man beat early in the game. I think it was first quarter still. Had his man beat that Caleb underthrew him. And then that second deep one, he went in double coverage, was lucky that was not picked off.
Hard to believe if you had told us, you remember when we were sitting here after the Lions game, when they got absolutely clowned, If you had said the Bears were going to win their next 3, I don't think I would have believed you.
No, I wouldn't have believed you at all. Absolutely not.
Especially considering all the injuries that they've had and some of the guys out there and the personnel groupings that they're using to go and beat this team. They made Jaden Daniels, other than some of the scrambles that were really special, I thought he looked, even with 3 touchdowns, at no point did I think, you can't give this guy the ball back because he's just going to take it right down and beat you. Sometimes a quarterback just, you can't let him touch the ball last, and I think that's exactly what Ben Johnson was thinking. But if this was an opportunity for Caleb Williams to judge himself on the same field as this guy, I thought it was certainly a good night for the Bears and a good night for Williams.
Yeah, and to answer one of the comments, too, the Bears are not tied for first place with the Lions. The Packers are actually in first at a 3-1-1 record.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be annoying
he asked the question. Yeah, but he asked the question. So
yeah, but that's why ties are annoying. Because they
very, very much so in football.
Yeah, we have to keep looking at things weird when we look at the schedule. And wait till the playoff permutations start, if, in fact, the Bears are in the hunt late in the season for the playoffs. But I think this is a time to just enjoy it. Enjoy the fact that this Chicago Bears team somehow, some way, despite all of the things that they do to throw landmines at their own feet sometimes in this wacky league, are sitting here with a winning record after 5 games. And hey, how about the Bears winning out of the bye? They never do that.
They never do that. Yeah,
they never do that.
Actually, to make things worse for you, with that win at 3-2, the Bears are actually still in 4th place in their division with a 3-2 record. Minnesota 3-2, Detroit 4-2, and then Green Bay on top with a 3-1-1 record because of the 2 division losses already.
All right, now.
But I'll take it though, and it's the only division in football where every team is over 500.
Here's their next 4. Home against the Saints.
Win.
Then it's the Ravens.
Win.
Bengals.
Win.
Giants.
Win. Let's go. Bears are going 7-2. Let's go.
Man.
Tell me I'm wrong. Come on. Let's go.
Well,
7-2, baby.
And I should say, too, based on a lot of the conversations that we had during the week, I'm happy that Tyreek Stevenson, while he did get burned on that one play, we didn't hear his name.
Not at all.
For almost 2.5 quarters, which is a great sign.
Yeah, I had that in my notes that we haven't heard his name at all. So
but that's good.
Yeah, that's great. No, that's perfect.
No, I had people texting me, "Where's Tyreek Stevenson?" And I kept saying, when you're not hearing a cornerback's name, that's good. They're not throwing to him.
You know who I thought had I'm not saying this because of what I thought was a really terrible call on the roughing the passer on Jaquan Brisker, because I thought he was pushed by Tunsil into him, which made him. But still, you can't. Whatever. I think he had a bad game despite the interception. Thought he had a bad game, and he looked like he was coming back from getting some time away, and I thought he just did not look good tonight.
Well, the Bears kind of did what I wanted them to do. If you were listening to Forward Progress earlier today, I did say that I wanted some more of those 3 linebacker looks on rundowns. They did that, and we saw more of a commitment to some outside zone run. And I just thought that when you got Drew Dahlman as your center, that's where he's most comfortable. And if they think they've got a little bread and butter stuff running behind the big fella at right tackle, I don't mind that, because I hate the word identity sometimes, and I'm not sure what the Bears' identity is. But if they want to use their ability to deal with going down late, their ability to go on the road in some difficult environments and win games, this is good stuff off of which to coach, because you can still ride their ass a little bit for doing things that are stupid. But you can still say, hey, if we clean this up, and you can mean it, and you can be right, that you can say, if we just stop being stupid and stop dropping balls and stop lining up off sides and stop hitting the quarterback with a lack of discipline, these games aren't going to be this close. And I don't think that's wrong.
No, I agree with you completely. And one other thing that you mentioned earlier today on Forward Progress was the opportunity for Dennis Allen to go out with a 4-3, get 3 linebackers out there. And it was going really well until Sewell got concussed by Jonathan Ford and got completely blown up. Probably the biggest hit of the game was friendly fire. That looked terrible. And when they weren't showing him on the field, I got very concerned about it that they're not showing the guy. Because when he went down, you could tell he was out. He was out cold. And then they go back to a really wide shot or a really narrow shot where they're just focusing guys around him and not showing him. I got a little concerned, but then seeing him walk on the sideline was great to see. But, yeah, he had that opportunity. You brought that up to get 3 linebackers out there, and that's what they were doing with Sewell.
And against a team that has been much more run-reliant, especially without Terry McLaurin and without Noah Brown. Let me mention, too, as long as you're patting yourself on the back for your DBU picks that people can find with MyBookie, I'm 4 in a row now because I had Zach Ertz over 27.5 receiving yards, and once again, he blew right by that. So if you're rolling with me, you're in pretty good shape. I'm not giving you huge risky stuff, but just little notes here and there that you might want. Yeah, you I will say you take a lot more risks than I do.
I do
some of these things.
It's more fun that way.
Dennis Allen, good job with the blitzing too, because I thought it was out of character. Every time that they would show a gap pressure and show guys mugging and looking like it would be a zero blitz, I'm thinking, all right, you're not coming. You're just trying to, maybe force him off of a call, force him to a kill or whatever it might be. But he brought a couple of guys, and I think he trusted TJ Edwards to do it more than he trusted somebody else. But they were bringing Gordon off the edge. They were trying to mix things up a little bit and try to speed up Jaden Daniels a little bit and force some bad decisions, and I didn't mind it. I like the fact that he showed a little something different.
Yeah, no, it looked great, and I thought the defense. I think they're developing their identity of taking the ball away. I mean, they're doing it. I mean, but they're doing it game after game after game after game. It's 5 games now. This isn't some kind of fluke thing. They're going out and taking the ball. They're looking for opportunities to knock the ball out and ball carries to strip the ball. They're getting interceptions. Jaden Daniels' first interception of the year, that was a really bad play, and Brisker, I think he was probably a step or two late in throwing the ball, and Brisker was able to make a nice read.
He was definitely late. He had him. He had him wide open.
Yeah, by at least 2 steps. He was late, which was unusual for Daniels, because normally he's not missing that play if you give him that opportunity again.
Final numbers for Caleb Williams, 17 of 29, 252 yards, and a touchdown. But boy, DeAndre Swift better get a game ball and a lot of hugs and the first sip of whatever he wants on the plane home, because he ran with a purpose. And this is the first time he's been in a position to be decisive, to run through contact. And what did he average? That's almost 8 yards a carry, isn't that? At 14 carries for 108 yards, that's just under 8. It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, let me see. I lost my screen here. I'm glad that this comment came up because I wrote it in my notes about Trubisky getting a rack boat.
Oh my God. That's just.
But I wonder if you don't, unless you were Buffalo or Chicago.
Those commercials don't count for a rack poing. Those are exempt.
Why is that?
Because the whole joke is they're little known backup quarterbacks. That's part of the bit. Most people couldn't.
Oh, because that's progressive. That's right. Progressive.
Right.
Does
whether
that.
it's Case Keenum or Tommy DeVito. So those commercials are exempt from a rack poing designation. I thought you were going to go to a different place, because when I saw it, my heart sank, because they traded up to draft him. Like, that's so much of this franchise was committed to him, and now it's just not cute that he's able. I'm glad he's getting paid. I like Mitch. Good for him.
Yeah.
It's going to take me a little while for that to be cute, because it still sucks that he wasn't good. What's funny? I'm serious.
I love your reaction to it. That's really good, because it's funny, because my reaction was, and only because he was drafted and they moved up to get him and he was our quarterback for a while, I'm like, you don't need to Arakpo Mitch Trubisky. Everyone knows Mitch Trubisky. I was like, come on now. Like Tommy DeVito? Yeah, I don't know Tommy DeVito. You could walk in my house right now. I wouldn't know who the hell he is.
Yeah, I know, but can I be honest about the joke that I made to myself that I probably shouldn't make?
What's that?
Is that it's of all quarterbacks where his particular backup skill in the commercial was getting a complicated call correct. Like it wasn't really his reputation for being like all of these complicated things that in the moment I can handle them better than anybody. I'm like, nope. No.
Probably not.
No, if you need him like running away from somebody or something, I don't know. But that was I found that a bit, I guess, ironic. It could be the word if they had him exercising the one skill at which I didn't think he was particularly gifted.
DeAndre Swift 7.7 on the average.
Yeah, that's pretty spectacular.
So if we can do that every game, that'd be great.
I'm sure you saw this note on the Chiron at the game on ESPN. Caleb Williams has become the first Bears quarterback with 200 passing yards and a touchdown in each of the first 5 games of a season.
Well, there you go. See? Generational.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It is 2025.
Yeah?
I think I have that right. It's 2025.
It is. That's correct.
Okay. He is the first Bears quarterback to have 200 passing yards and a touchdown in the first 5 games of a season, in each one of those games.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
He actually threw 2 touchdowns tonight. One was bullshit. It was callback.
Yeah, and what a catch by Adunze.
It was a great catch. It was a great throw. It was a great catch.
And keep the fro, man.
You like that?
I don't know if that's just a blowout in between stylings. Because if he wants that to really lock up into a true fro, I'm here for him. Because sometimes, like in between braidings or in between stylings, you just kind of let it breathe a little bit and blow it out. But if he wants to go all natural, I'm there. I'm with him. And because unlike Ben Wallace, that whole fear the fro thing, that was not like a real one. He wants to go old school 70s, big time. Rome, let your freak flag fly, man.
And every time they said Krosky Merritt, I always heard Frosty first.
Frosty Merritt?
Yeah, I always heard Frosty, and I'm like, who's that?
And when they did the little graphic treatment of him and his nickname Bill, why was it old Western themed? Why did they have like the old the violins and the old weird Western music?
I must have missed that. I
must have missed that too.
At that point, yeah.
I didn't understand what was going on. Why it was like a cowboy thing for him. But hey, man, this is the Bears are allowed to win some of these. I think I thought for sure they wouldn't, but I'll be damned. Maybe something's a little different. Maybe having a coach who's not a blithering idiot makes a difference in these weird games.
One guy heard Krusty. Another guy said, yep, he heard Frosty. See? Yes, the Frosty.
Yep.
But Krusty.
Hey. If it's anybody other than Steve Allen, tell him he's stealing my bit. The Sex Cauldron? I thought that place closed. Well, good job, Bears. It's fun to be happy after a Bears game when I didn't expect to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because when they were leading 16-10, it didn't even feel like we were leading. It felt like
soon they weren't,
and soon they weren't. I mean, that's why I said I was like, all right, Natalie and I are watching the game, and I said I just don't feel good because they're like this shouldn't be a 1-score game at this point. Like those field goals need to be touchdowns. It shouldn't be a 1-score game. And then I kept going back in my head with that stupid call that the ref made on Theo Benedict, which shouldn't have been. Again, watch any Chiefs game you want, and you'll see even worse than that.
I warned you about Luke McCaffrey too.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
well, shit, man, I could have scored that touchdown.
But still, and he had.
No, you're
nice
right. No, I'm not taking anything away from you.
And
he had a nice run back. He had a touchdown.
And no, you could not have scored that touchdown.
I could have scored that touchdown.
Nope,
Absolutely.
Nope. Some
it
giant
so
angry man would chase you down and rip your head off, and you'd be crying.
I would not.
You'd be screaming at the top of your lungs.
Oh, I would have been screaming before he got to me.
They would take you into the blue tent. They would wrap you in the blue tent, and they would take you away in a van.
No, I was in the blue tent. Who would have come in and asked if I was okay?
Dayball.
Yeah.
Get him out of there. He's fine. I don't see any blood. He's fine. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm trying to see what else. I'm just counting the number of question marks that I had for weird bad calls for strange decisions that Bears seem to make. Why did they challenge the 1-yard catch, too?
Well, I question the same thing, because if you're wrong, you lose your challenge. But if you're right, it's only a yard. But didn't that come back to? Wasn't there a 4th and 1 or a third? I thought there was
that was
that 1 yard actually. That 1 yard actually came back to help them.
There was on 3rd and 10. There was a 9-yard run by Swift. Seemed like every time he touched the ball was a 9-yard run. And then on 4th and 1. The pass was deflected and incomplete, and I did not like that play call.
No.
Too cute by half. And let me also, while we're talking about Caleb Williams and his accomplishments, let's be fair here. I want to call out 2, because on that particular throw, when Ben Johnson decided to, instead of running an RPO, instead of giving some sort of option look, or just running the ball, they had him throw it into a congested area of the field, through a lot of arms. That ball should have been picked off by Frankie Louvu.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, 3rd quarter, near the goal line, that should have been picked off by Mikey Sanders-Still.
Yes.
There were 2 balls that Caleb Williams threw that should have been interceptions.
Yeah,
but they weren't.
Sure. But they weren't.
But it does highlight what Williams still needs to tighten up. Just don't make those throws. Don't put yourself in a position to have those things happen to you.
Well, no, it's not about not making them. It's about throwing the ball sooner. That's the issue, is that he's still taking too long to throw the ball. And on the 2-point conversion, he had Monungai wide open.
I know.
That's the first read. Throw the damn ball. What are you looking for? What are you waiting for? That read, the running back coming out, is the first read. And you get the ball and you throw it. That's an easy run for him. Again, he's just not throwing the ball when he needs to throw it. But then he has like that 18-yard bullet to DJ Moore, which is just an unbelievable throw.
Ben Johnson, in his postgame right now, says, I think these wins sometimes can go a longer way for your program than those blowouts do. Maybe kind of depending on where your program is, I think, depending if the players are there who are meaningful for your program. To the extent that we use the term program for NFL, okay.
Yeah, right.
And if it helps Caleb Williams, terrific. If it helps the players who are going to be here when you're good, terrific. Well, what do you mean, Bernstein? They're 3-2. You are what your record says you are. 3-2 is good. It's certainly better than 0-5, and better than 1-4, and a bunch of other records too. So, yeah, if you want to start thinking they're good in this league. Are they moving toward the top of the blob, especially with this schedule coming up? Maybe.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we have 4 wins coming up the next 4 weeks, so that takes the Bears to 7-2, and we're sitting really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why you're laughing. I don't think anything's funny about that. Hey, that 3rd and 1 play that was bobbled and turned into a 4th and 6, right? I think right at the end of the 3rd quarter. Was that bad snap? Is that bad hands? Combination of both? Okay.
Both. I think you got to pick up your center there. Especially with conditions the way they were. Make sure you have the ball. The snap was not great, but it was still within a reasonable catch radius for an athlete as good as Caleb Williams.
Yeah, because he wasn't fully stretched or jumping
he
for
wasn't.
the ball.
He wasn't picking up a bouncing ball.
He reached and he should have had it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So no, the snap was not great, but you got to pick up your center there.
Yeah. Whew, boy.
So
I tell you what Ben Johnson did out of the bye week with that run game was very impressive. Very impressive. DeAndre Swift ran hard, hit the holes he was supposed to hit. Man, that was fun to watch. He had hell of a game. Good for him after the first 4 weeks of what the run game looked like. And, it made a huge difference with Darnell Wright out there, obviously, and with Benedict at left tackle. Again, you think he may not be the long-term solution, but you know what? In 2 opportunities here, he's looked pretty damn good so far.
If you want outside zone to the right to be something when you hear it in the huddle, that it has a reasonable chance of success, and they know that. But Darnell Wright he's not just strong, though. He got down the field.
No, yeah, for sure.
He can get out there and move a little bit. That's a first-round pick. And if calling that play can give him a little bit of confidence and know, even though anybody knows it's coming, that there's going to be a place for Swift to make a decision. He can follow that out. He can follow that out, or he can cut it on back. That you figure these things out. What did we say today? Earlier today, pare away the things that you don't like, and eventually you find something you do. When you just keep scraping away the things that don't work, it's okay, and you can go back to go forward. In the terminology of the Ripken instructors, go back to go forward. And if that's what they did during the bye week, I don't mind it. And I think that Ben Johnson, with this particular roster at this point, is acquitting himself quite well.
Yeah, no, for sure. And again, you mentioned earlier in the show here about the Bears not winning out of bye weeks traditionally. They just haven't over the last several.
Well, it
coaches.
isn't actually tradition. It's just it just happens
over
to be
over the last
yes.
over the last several coaches. Yeah. So, but they're making it a tradition. So that's what they're. And Ben Johnson is trying to change that tradition. He's like, hey, I have an idea. Let's win out of the bye week.
What a plan.
Yes.
It's amazing how that can happen. And if you're just joining us for the first time here on Forward Progress, I'm Dan Bernstein. That's Matt Abaticola. This is 312 Sports. And know that you can find a lot of us at 312 Sports. You can find us on YouTube, and you can find Forward Progress every day. When you can go to 312sports.com for all the links that you need, or you can find everything in via my social media feeds where it's all there for you. Dan Bernstein Unfiltered is our other show that we post every day, wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you get them, whether it's at Spotify, Apple Podcasts. That around 11 o'clock in the morning is Dan Bernstein Unfiltered, where we cover everything that's going on in Chicago sports and beyond, and in culture and movies and candy bars and all kinds of stuff. And if it's Bears that you want, Forward Progress is your place to be. And we're going to be here after every game doing this for you. And we've got all sorts of cool stuff coming with more live stuff. I don't know, maybe a watch party here or there. And also, if you're a basketball fan, Organizations Win Championships is coming back. And this is the first time I'm announcing that officially, so you get a little advanced jump on that. May just be sooner than you think, too.
Yeah, very excited to listen to that. Organizations Win Championships. And, yeah, and if you haven't subscribed to all of our channels, make sure you do so. There's a little bell icon. That's how you get the alerts to know when we're going live. A couple weeks ago, we did a special live DBU on a Sunday morning. We were just hanging out and said, hey, let's just jump in and do a show. If you don't have notifications coming to you, you just won't know when we're doing that. And thanks for joining us tonight and being here on the live stream. It's just a lot of fun to do this, and it's particularly more fun after a big Bears win. Somebody asked if I think the Bears are not going to win a game in the division. Well, until they do, I won't believe it. Until they do. Unless they want to make J.J. McCarthy looked like a superstar again in the fourth quarter of a game. It's going to be pretty tough. But, at least the next 4 weeks, the Bears have wins coming. We'll get to 7-2.
Jake Moody has a big smile on his face as he meets the media. He is talking about how he got carried off the field by his teammates, called it pretty cool series of events. And a couple days ago, I didn't even know I was playing. Ben Johnson says of Jake Moody, I think the change of scenery was really good for him, which is an interesting response. He didn't say, Cairo is our kicker.
Yes.
And remember, Cairo Santos got here because of his relationship with Matt Nagy, if I remember correctly. After everything the Bears went through with Eddie Pinero and with Captain Doinkatron, that they ended up with Santos, who had battled through injury. And I'll say this, Moody may not be as reliable. He definitely has a stronger leg than Santos.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. I think you have a stronger leg than Santos.
No, but accuracy matters, consistency matters, and Moody has not been consistent. But this guy was a big-time kicking prospect and drafted where he was for a reason. So good night for him. Happy for him.
To answer the question here, Yoda Man, there was a Top 10 Commander show. You can go back to our YouTube channel for DBU, and we did it last week Friday. So that would have been
Top 10 Commanders?
That was the 10th. So go and check out the 10th, the DBU show. We did a Top 10 Commanders. The first few weeks of the NFL season, we did our top 10 list during Forward Progress.
Right. He probably didn't know we switched it to DBU.
So we switched it to DBU this past Friday. So moving forward, all the top 10 lists, and this Friday on DBU, we'll have the top 10 Saints of all time, and that will be on DBU this Friday the 17th.
See, I could have some problems with that one because you have a religious education that I don't have. So
yeah, but trust me, I'm not taking that wide of an angle with these top 10 Saints.
Okay, I got worried.
I
could
don't
do it
wanna,
seriously.
I could, but I'll tell you, there's one Saint that will make that list. There's one of that type of Saints that will make the list. The rest, I can't give too much. I can't give too much.
Okay.
Too much attention.
I just thought I'd be out of my element, like I felt in when I took art history in college, and with every painting having some ancient Catholic connotation, I knew nothing of anything and had no idea what anybody was talking about. I didn't know what the Annunciation was. I didn't anything.
Oh, and I will tell you this because I've already had a sneak peek from the committee.
Oh.
I'm sorry. They live here. They're around the kitchen table eating all my food.
You're feeding them. Yeah.
This week they are not going with a honorable mention section. They're going with a dishonorable mention section.
Ooh. See.
Yes.
I'm glad I know that. Because when the committee is stepping up its game, it means I have to rise to the occasion as well. Bears
and unfortunately, Pope Bob is not a saint yet.
Not yet. Well, he needs a miracle, right?
Yeah, I think it needs to be dead, or there aren't so many living saints.
No, you need to be dead, and there has to be actual evidence of a miracle. That I think I know.
2005, he was there. He made that miracle.
That's
happen.
right.
Yeah, that's right. The miracle. The White Sox won the World Series.
White Sox win. Pope Bob, he's a saint. Congratulations. I'm trying to see if there's anything that I'm missing from my own notes, because Bears games to me can be like an out-of-body experience where I don't remember writing these things down, and it's a hell of a win in a game where I initially thought they were in trouble because they weren't getting touchdowns on those drives, and they're clinging to a lead, and I thought at 24-16 this is over, until all of a sudden DeAndre Swift just turns up field, peels one tackler off of him, and I'm like, okay, now they're just going to break our hearts differently. Especially after the 2-point conversion was all bollocksed up. And then after the roughing the passer on Brisker, I thought, okay, this is over. After the Zacchaeus drop, this is over. And you could tell in the broadcast I kind of felt it was over. I also felt that it seemed that they'd made up their mind that this was going to be a Jaden Daniels discussion most of the evening. And I thought Daniels was okay. He was good. He was fine.
Yeah, he was good. He was good. Yeah, he was fine.
He was good, but I wasn't terrified that if they take a lead and give him a chance, he's going to drive them down, because they were close on a lot of those blitzes, and he was able to slither away from them so many times but he dropped his eyes. You know, there's other guys I worry about who, when you're like that and you're close, their eyes are down the field, and they never went back on some of that and said and showed us where all the wide open guys were.
Yeah, there was a lot of comments here from people not enjoying the broadcast from Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. I guess maybe I just generally kind of tune them out, and I was more raging at the TV at certain points of the game. I don't really hear.
Like Buck and Aikman.
Yeah, I generally think they're pretty good.
And you know when I don't like somebody, and you know because there was baseball going on, and
oh yeah, the Brewers lost, by the way. Woohoo!
And holy crap, I don't know what is going on in Toronto. My God, but. I'll tell you if I don't like somebody. I don't like John Smoltz, and I can say that here in a Bears postgame. I can say that at any time. You can wake me up in the middle of the night and say, "Are you okay?" I'll tell you I don't like John Smoltz. I don't like his work. He may be a very nice guy.
I'm sure he's a delightful human being.
I'm not. He could be an awful human. Why do you assume he's I don't know. I hate saying that I always presume somebody's a nice person. I don't know. I
didn't think the broadcast was all that bad. But then again, I just always assume that Joe Buck hates Chicago, so he's not going to like anything that we do.
He doesn't.
I know he doesn't, but
he
doesn't.
Does.
I know people think he does.
He doesn't.
I know, but people think he does. I know he doesn't.
Well, look, there's a radio call you can listen to. You can make yourself happy, but
if you can tune in the radio station.
At night. It's probably easier to do it in North Carolina than it is in Naperville. I'm not kidding. Directional
I've heard
signal.
that. A lot of people from Naperville actually go to North Carolina to listen to Bears games.
It's a directional signal. I used to listen to Bulls games on that signal in North Carolina. We would drive up to the top of a hill, and we'd sit around, and we'd get a designated driver, and everybody else would drink Olympia Light and listen to Bulls games.
Olympia Light.
Oh, it was so cheap.
Ooh.
It was bad.
It
was
sounds
bad.
bad.
You had to like chew pieces of wheat in it. It was.
Oh, seriously?
It was. It had to be ice cold.
They should have got a
Otherwise,
filter. They could
you'd
filter
throw
that
up
right
and,
out.
and your eyes would fall out. It would be terrible. So that's going to do it for our post game here. Congratulations to everybody that rode through that fourth quarter without throwing up on yourself, because it was.
Oh, I had no doubt. I knew
Yeah,
they
you
were gonna.
did.
I had zero doubts. I knew they were gonna win this game. Just like they're gonna win
Okay.
the next 4. They're gonna get to 7-2. Here we go. Super Bowl this year.
All right, that's enough out of you. You're
No,
gonna get-
Ben Johnson said, "Why can't we win this year?" So why can't we win this year?
well,
It's a big blob.
the Bears are a winning team.
Yes.
As of right now, the Chicago Bears are a winning team. They've won 3 in a row, now with a victory at Washington. And we will be talking about all of this very, very soon, because Dan Bernstein Unfiltered will drop at 11, and the next edition, our full rested post game of Forward Progress, is going to drop right around 1 o'clock tomorrow.
That's correct.
Okay, because you had mentioned maybe going live. I think didn't you mention that today?
I did. I just thrown it out there, testing the waters.
Okay,
I was just throwing a whatever kind
the
of
point
bait
is you never
use.
know with us.
You did. Yeah. That's why you have to have the notifications on
Subscribe.
on the YouTube channel to find out when we're going live. So there you go. All right, say goodbye now.
Goodbye now.